So you might very well ask yourself, well, why do I need to meditate? I mean, isn't it good enough just being a decent human being? Going to the clinic and donating blood, giving in charity, old clothes, furniture to the Salvation Army, that sort of thing. Well, of course, these things are very important. And just because you decide to practice the spiritual path and meditate doesn't mean that you give up on these basic forms of generosity and goodwill. In fact, if you're a spiritual practitioner, then you should apply yourself more and more to these types of activities. But when it comes down to it, then the Buddha asked the question, what is the ultimate source of our suffering? I mean, we all admit that the world isn't perfect. We've got issues, there are problems. And the question is, where do these problems come from? And if there is a general cause for the suffering in the world, then how is it that we can overcome that negativity, get rid of suffering? And I suppose this is the principal or fundamental question that was asked by all of the sages of the past. And I understand that many people are of the position that basically the world is like that and that there is no solution. You just have to accept it. People say, well, that's just the way things are. There's nothing you can do about it. And if you are happy with that response, then I suppose you've got something to dedicate yourself to in this life. And that's to try in a small way to make the world a better place. And so most of the theistic religions in the world teach that the solution is that we need to have faith and devotion to God. That our salvation lies only in the hands of God. And everything depends upon that. And again, if you have faith or belief in that, then you know what you need to do. You know how to apply yourself in order to realize well-being and bring an end to suffering. And that is, you need to dedicate yourself with devotion to your chosen or particular God. But in terms of what the Buddha taught, it does not make sense that everything should depend upon a creator God. This notion that a creator God is responsible for the entire universe and responsible for happiness and suffering, in some ways as if it were down to the whim of God that we should suffer. And in terms of the Buddha Dharma, the question is, why is this an illogical position to hold? Well, we assume that God is benevolent, right? And that God wants to establish everyone in heaven, in final and ultimate well-being and bliss. But if this creator God is responsible for the universe and everything in it, then why would that creator God decide to make suffering? Why would that creator God create evil people, for example? So anyway, I'm not here to refute Christianity or Islam. I'm here to present the position as taught by the Buddha. And that's because through my life's investigations, then I found this position to be the most valid and logical. I found this position to ring true. And what the Buddha taught was that the reason why there is suffering in the world is because us ordinary beings or immature individuals have got a lot of self-interest, self-clinging. Basically, we don't think about others. And in general, even when we're trying to do good, this is often wrapped up in subtle self-interest because we're looking to be seen in a positive light by others, and also because we're looking for some kind of reward, some kind of remuneration. And so what the Buddha taught is, in order to bring an end to suffering, then we need to bring an end to our self-concern or our self-clinging. Now, I think it's quite easy to see that if we all had this outlook, this viewpoint, that only was concerned with the benefit of others, then the world would be a much better place. Of course, if you're a materialist, then you have to accept that we will be subject to sickness, aging, and death, and also unforeseen circumstances will cause hardship. It's not like we can avoid death. It's not like we can avoid sickness. I mean, we sort of have this feeling that someday science will be so advanced that we'll find a cure for everything. But the reality is, new diseases are always coming around. They're evolving and changing all the time. And in some ways, our progress and our advancement is only contributing to this problem. It is quite likely, if not inevitable, that our scientific progress could itself bring about the end of human civilization. So anyway, we're going to get sick, we're going to age, and we're going to eventually die. That's not something we can change. The question is, when that happens, can we still be happy? Can we be accepting and content with whatever arises? Now, this is the fundamental point when it comes to the Buddha Dharma. This explains why meditation is so important. Meditation is about finding that acceptance, that contentment, the ability to be okay with whatever arises. And also, meditation is about conditioning oneself to think about others and to lose one's self-interest. Because, as the Buddha taught, then it is self-interest that is the fundamental cause of our suffering. Hello! How are you doing? Okay, it's a lovely sunny day, isn't it? I took my mom out today.
Crispy, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to get warmer as well, they say.
Yeah, oh nice.
So are you taking pictures?
Well, I've got a
you do
YouTube channel, and it's kind of about meditation and stuff like that.
Oh.
So what I do is I go for a walk,
Yeah.
because I need to get exercise and get out of the house for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I go out and I just record a little lecture or something like that and put it on YouTube.
Oh.
It's all about meditation and stuff.
Oh, but
It's like killing two birds with one stone, right?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it encourages me to get some exercise. Otherwise, if I'm just indoors all the time,
Yeah. Just to
know,
be out and fresh air.
clear
right?
clear your head,
Clears your head.
and also get a little bit of cardio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, I just become sedentary, right?
Yeah.
Well, enjoy your walk.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye. I have no idea where I was. So the purpose of it all, purpose of meditation, is to change oneself, better oneself, take control of your mind. And also, because we have this very strong habit for self-clinging, the meditation is about breaking that down. Transforming our normal self-concern into concern for others. And although I know there are some amongst us who are very saintly, for most of us, then we are completely wrapped up in self-concern. Primarily we think about ourselves, and then after that, it's those connected with us. Our family, our friends, our football team, our organization, our political party, etc. It's our natural habit. It's a human natural habit. And although we understand the importance of being a decent human being, engaging in charity, volunteering at the local center, etc., one only has to look at the way we spend our time. What percentage of your day do you spend thinking about your own benefit? And what percentage of your day do you spend thinking about the benefit of others? As I said many times before, what we need to do primarily is we need to contrive our practice. It's not natural for us to think 24 hours a day about others' needs. And so if you want to understand your natural tendencies in life, then just look at the way you act in your dreams. And so if at night you're dreaming about saving people from natural catastrophes, giving to the poor, acting heroically, then it's quite possible that this is your natural way of thinking. But if in your dreams you're protecting your interests, protecting your own life and well-being, then this is a reflection of the way you naturally think. And this is what meditation is all about. It's about habituating yourself, training yourself. Now, exactly what you train yourself in or what you meditate on depends very much on the level of view. As I've said before many times, then there are 3 ways of dealing with the mundane world. 3 ways of dealing with our negative emotional content. And those are abandonment, transformation, and recognition. And so when it comes down to it, what you meditate on is the view associated with one of these 3 levels of practice. But this is another topic, and it's quite a profound one, not something that can be covered easily in a short space of time. But essentially, then we could say that this view of abandonment is associated with cutting ourselves off from our attachments, our greed, our anger, our jealousy, those sort of things. That's stopping the conditions that will cause us to give rise to our negative emotions. Transformation is very much about this view of loving kindness and compassion, or bodhicitta. So that's where we meditate on the benefit of others. We try to transform our natural habit of thinking of ourselves into this habit of thinking about others. And when it comes to recognition, and that means recognizing things for the way they are naturally, then that's a much, much more difficult level of practice, and that's associated with the Vajrayana. That's all about seeing the non-separation, non-duality, natural purity of existence. But this is not something that we can do authentically in any way. At best, when we try to engage in the Vajrayana practice, it's just make-believe. It's completely contrived. Now, there is a way for you to come to understand any level of view, that of the Hinayana, Mahayana, or Vajrayana. And that's through these 3 stages of study, contemplation, and meditation. Through studying or listening to the truth of the Dharma, we come to understand a particular view. And once we have a good understanding of that view, then we can reflect on the meaning of those truths and come to develop some personal certainty about them. And meditation is resting in the certainty of a particular truth or view. But as I said, this is a very deep topic, and it's not something that I can cover in a short time in a single video. So that's about all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.